Okay, let's get this party started. Welcome into the Real Estate Investing Show, everyone. I'm Clayton Morris, longtime real estate investor, and I started my journey in real estate investing. And before I got into real estate investing, on that journey, I had a lot of negative associations with money. If you've had a problem with money, I've had it. Debt, student loan debt, bad credit. I had a foreclosure to my name. I had a default judgment because of a foreclosure to my name. Take that, because of a land deal that I bought right during the market crash in 2008. And it haunted me, for years. So I had to get creative. And I think, okay, I can't do it the normal way. So I need to get creative with my money. How can I see all these guys have become millionaires in real estate and investing, and they've done it without their own money. They've taken the creative path to it, and they're now multimillionaires. How can I do that? Well, I figured it out. I had to do it a bunch of different ways before I became a millionaire, and that's the path that I took. It's a circuitous path. And so on today's show, I want to talk about 7 common money myths that hold people back and continue to keep you in this cycle of poverty and being brokenness. And let me just start off by talking about the American dream before we get into these 7 money myths. The American dream is a lie. The American dream is predicated on the idea that you are going to go into debt buying liabilities, buying a car, getting a car payment, buying a home to live in that you'll be paying a bank. You don't actually own that home. You own a piece of paper, and you really are in that home because of the bank, right? But you're paying that bank every month. They own it. And Uncle Sam technically owns the land, right? What happens if you stop paying property taxes? Who gets that land back? Government, right? So this idea of the American dream is a bit of a lie. And actually, it's more than a bit of a lie. It is a total lie that's been sort of foisted upon all of us thanks to Wall Street and really through marketing. Right? You can open up Life magazine in the 1950s and show that happy family standing on the lawn with the dog and the smiling wife holding a big tray of iced tea while the family plays in the yard, and the dad has his nice Cadillac in the driveway and his nice 4-bedroom house that's perfectly manicured lawn. We've all seen those ads, right? It's all marketing. And so when people want the American dream, what they're saying is they want to buy liabilities. They want to own a house to live in. They want to put a little bit of away in retirement, some sort of a 401k plan. And then at the end of the rainbow, when they're at retirement age, they've still got this debt. They have a little bit of a nest egg, if anything, and they're living on Social Security benefits if they're lucky. And they don't have the cash flow that they can travel the world and live financially free. The way that I look at the American dream, if we want to scrap the original version, is to create a way that we can live financially free now, right? We can use our money. We can say F you to Wall Street. We can say F you to the system that got us here, and to all the marketing and advertising about buying liabilities, working for somebody else, going into debt, making another company wealthy while we slave away driving 2 hours to and from work every day. That's the dream that's been sold to us. So how can we become financially free now, where we can put our money to work for us that can create cash flow every month, right? Creating streams of cash instead of piles of cash. So let's go through 7 money myths that are keeping us in this cycle of the American dream, in this cycle of middle-age poverty, and frankly, now that the middle class has been decimated, really lower income, lower middle class poverty. So number 1 on my list is utilizing a bank. You've heard me say it before, this idea of savers are losers, right? And it really is the case. When you've got money inside of a bank account, you are losing money every day. You are losing money because the bank is really an awful place to be putting your money. Now, just before we started the live stream, someone said, where can I put some money? And I mentioned, I would at least try to use a DeFi savings account, where at least you've got some money sitting aside, you have a small amount of savings that you can actually get a return on your investment, okay? Saving up for that first piece of real estate investing. Instead of having it sitting at a bank where you're literally losing money because it can't keep up with the rate of inflation. If you're getting 0.01% return in a savings account with your Wells Fargo or Bank of America account, that's garbage. And if the inflation rate is near 2% and on its way up, you're losing money. So savers are losers. So this mentality that I've had since, my grandmother, my father, but I remember my grandma used to take me to the bank and she's like, you got to put money in a bank. You got to put money in the savings account. You got to put money in this paltry savings account or open a CD. Remember those things, a CD? Those things were worthless. I remember one time I had $1,000 from working summers and I put it in a CD and I just misunderstood the annual percentage rate, the return. And wouldn't you know it, I waited a year and I couldn't wait. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to make like $100 or something like this on my investment. And I went after that 1 year to take out my CD and it had made like $2 or $3. And I thought, oh my God, how can anyone build wealth this way? I was shocked. And I felt really stupid. I felt really stupid not understanding annual percentage rates. I felt really stupid as a teenager with this into my college years. And I thought, how can anyone build wealth putting money in the bank? The truth is you cannot. So even if you go to morrisinvest.com/outlet, Outlet Finance is a savings account bank that I use. It's a non-traditional bank. They actually have savings backed by crypto. So, while you've got 20, 30,000 sitting there in a bank, move it over to a smarter place to allow you to get some return while you're waiting to be able to pounce and buy that first real estate investment. And it's liquid. So if you need it at any time, they've got their own insurance, et cetera. This is not a pitch for them. I love it. That is my savings account. But if you are, the interest rates are so low at a traditional bank that you're just going to be losing money as it accounts for inflation. So just get your money out of a traditional bank. It is awful. It is worthless. They are there to make money off of your money, and that's it. And by the way, during this infrastructure stimulus talk and during this pandemic over the past year, the people that have made the most money are the banks, right? They've just made absolute gobs of money, and they're able to borrow money at like 0% interest. They're borrowing money from the federal government at 0% interest. They are making enormous wealth right now. Bank revenues have been off the charts while you have been suffering, right? Isn't that the paradox here? They continue to make enormous amounts of money and the returns that they pay you are awful. Number 2 on my list, automating your savings to build a nest egg. The truth, saving money isn't an inherently bad idea, but if it's your primary means for building wealth, then you won't get very far. You don't need a nest egg, okay? I hear this all the time, the Dave Ramsey approach. Like, we need a nest egg. You need a nest egg. What you need, though, instead, is a golden goose. You need the goose that produces the monthly cash flow. You don't need the eggs. The eggs go bad. The eggs can't keep up with inflation. You ever have an egg sit out on a counter, you forget about it, and it's in a refrigerator, and you don't know about it, and you've left for a while? My wife tells the story of they had a camper growing up, and it was her and her sister's job to clean out the camper at the end of the season. They had to clean out the kitchen and all of they had a kitchen, small little refrigerator, and they left eggs in the refrigerator. And they powered down the thing. They put it in storage for the whole winter. They got it out for the spring to start to go up and do some camping again. And they opened it up, and it was the smell of death because of the eggs that were there. Eggs go bad. Eggs go bad. What you need is a goose. You need a golden goose. So stop. I think the nest egg mentality really comes from a scarcity mentality. And it is still tied to this American dream mentality, right? So a nest egg, so buy a car as a liability, buy a house that's a liability that you live in, work for somebody else, okay? Have credit card debt, and then save up 6 months of your paycheck as a nest egg in case of calamity. That whole way of thinking is wrong. First of all, saving up 6 months of your paycheck, right? Working for somebody else, okay, is your primary means of income. What we should have is our investments are our primary mode of income. And every month they're producing cash flow for us. And you're not waiting for a calamity to happen. With cash flow every month, you will always have that cash flow. You will always have that rental income. You will always have those dividends from investments, et cetera, coming in to protect you. And you can put that in savings. You can reinvest that into other assets. So then your cash flow gets greater. Instead of $2,000 a month in cash flow, now we're reinvesting those profits, and now we get $4,000 a month in cash flow, and then $6,000 a month in cash flow. This Bill Perdue says, yeah, that's why the biggest banks have the biggest buildings. The banks have the biggest building. Of course. Always. So don't store away your extra funds. Don't put them in a random nest egg. Instead, buy performing assets, okay, that keep putting money in your pocket. So if you think, I don't want to own real estate because, well, I don't know, something could happen to real estate. I got news for you. Something's happening to your money. Real estate for thousands of years has been a hedge against inflation, has been one of the smartest ways to preserve wealth in world history. In world history. I can count on 3 fingers. Real estate, gold and precious metals, and fancy, ridiculously expensive artwork. That's it. In world history. That's it. You're going to bet against world history? But I can tell you what has collapsed at every turn has been fiat currency. Every government currency in world history has collapsed. And do you think the United States currency is any different? $28 trillion in debt. We are the richest country in the world. We have now more debt than any country in world history. Also, how sustainable is that? I mean, do you want your future tied to this nest egg of a fiat currency? And I go back to what I said before, which is like a little cash on hand, keeping that in a at least liquid account, like a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 account that you're moving and you're using perhaps as down payments. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about keeping your retirement savings, your quote unquote future nest egg to protect you against calamity and losing a job that's going to sustain you for years. Keeping that in the bank? No way. That's the mistake. Number 3 on my list is this myth that the stock market will make you rich. The truth is, stocks make Wall Street rich. That's it. And you deserve to use your discernment and choose your own investments, of course. You can pick and choose what you invest in that's going to bring you wealth. So owning rental real estate where there's no middleman and you own the cash flow, you own the asset, you own the tax benefits. If you invest in Tesla, what do you own? You own a paper asset. And the value of Tesla can plummet. And what happens to your money? What happens to your share? It plummets. What happens to your retirement? You can log into your 401k and see your entire retirement fund just dwindling down with these different investments. What happens if a country, I just finished reading a book on Enron, smartest guys in the room, What happens if you had invested in Enron? You didn't know what was happening in that board of directors, in that executive suite. And then you find out this whole company is built on a house of cards and totally fake. Look at the Theranos trial that's about to unfold, right? I mean, here's a company that was supposed to have all of this great valuation. It was valued at billions of dollars. Turns out it was all just fake, right? And now she's going to trial. Like 9 felony convictions or 9 felony indictments. So wouldn't it make sense for you to have your money in things that are not paper assets? Now, like if you want to jump in and do some day trading, fine. Like that's not investing, right? That's not investing. That's day trading. That's just making a quick buck, right? That's a quick paycheck. Use those short-term profits and turn that into buy and hold real estate. The thing is, the stock market obviously has been incredibly volatile, and it depends on where you're investing, of course. But if you are tying your future to a 401k is a terrible retirement vehicle. As I mentioned before, it's never meant to stand on its own. It was meant to always work in tandem with a pension plan, and pension plans have all but disappeared. So unless your company has a company match program, start to put your money other places. I mean, I immediately, once I figured out and started understanding how the 401k worked, I stopped all my payments to the 401k and I started investing in real estate. Best thing I ever did. And then when I finally was able to leave the company because they wouldn't allow me to touch my 401k, I rolled that over into a self-directed IRA. And I was able to then buy more real estate that I controlled. So stock market will not make you wealthy and provide monthly cash flow. Sure, people will argue, well, but Clayton, what about dividends? Yeah, you can get some dividends, 5-6% here and there. If you get an AT&T stock, great. Understanding that you do not get the tax benefits that you get from owning real estate when you own stocks. Not even in the same ballpark. Great, you get a 5 or 6% return from owning certain stocks in a dividend. Great, enjoy paying all the taxes on that. Number 4, this myth that, we grow up here, the only thing in life that we can count on is death and taxes, right? Well, it turns out one of those is not true. Taxes. This idea of having to pay incredibly high taxes for the rest of your life. The truth is, year-round tax planning can actually help you strategize and save, where you virtually pay nothing in taxes if you're doing it properly with the right tax team. Now, I'm talking about tax planning, which means that's something you're doing all year long to mitigate your taxes. See, anyone can just file taxes. A CPA can just file tax. That's the easy part. The hard part is the monthly phone calls with your tax team. So you're planning all year long so that you're basically paying zero in taxes at the end of the year. What real estate do I need to acquire this year for the write-offs that'll offset the other income that I have coming in? Why does Jeff Bezos pay nothing in taxes? Because of his write-offs. Because he knows how to account for all of those, all of the income, and he knows how to offset that by creating Blue Origin and creating rockets and creating and getting other solar credits and all sorts of other things that are tax and government incentives for building businesses and investing in real estate. All of those things, and hiring people. Once you understand how the tax code works, having taxes, paying a lot in taxes is not inevitable. Once you have that tax planning in place, you learn how to play the game correctly. I'm not saying the tax code is fair. It's not. But until it changes, you can choose to sit there and cry about it. The tax code is highly inequitable in many ways, without a doubt. Without a doubt. As Warren Buffett famously talks about, why does his secretary pay more in taxes than he does? Because he's an investor. She is a W-2 employee, and she is in a higher tax bracket. Isn't that crazy? Yet he's a multi-billionaire. That's just the way the tax code is written, and it is inequitable. We can cry about it. We can choose to play that game until it changes. So I always say this, I think of the tennis court analogy. Like over here is the tax code tennis court, the way it's currently written. Over here is the pie in the sky one that you would like to have tennis court, okay, that doesn't exist. So I'm going to play on the one that exists and learn to mitigate the taxes that I have through smart investing. And if the tax code changes, we adjust. That's the way you do it. And if it becomes more equitable, great. If the wealthiest Americans start paying more money in taxes and the IRS is actually empowered to go after these tax cheats who offshore their money and don't pay taxes because they're cheating, great, go after them. But right now, the tax code is this way. Let's play by that. Let's play on that tennis court. Number 5 on my list. I saw this question earlier. I asked this question: what are the things holding you back? And a lot of you commented in the comments section that student loan debt has held you back. That's been the thing that has really hampered your ability to make money and build wealth. And number 5 on my list is going to college is the only way. The truth is that there are plenty of other ways to make money and build a great retirement plan. And I'm going to tell you right now, going to college, getting a college degree, unless you know the return on that investment, don't do it. I'm going to be frank with you. Unless you know that you're going to become a doctor and the return on you becoming a doctor and going to school for 30 years, however long it takes to become a doctor, it's going to take you, okay, let's do the math, right? That's going to take you 7 years of working at the hospital for you to pay back the $400,000 in student loans that you'll have before you can start creating significant profit in your life where you can start to put that money away. Now, I got a secret for you. Doctors, we work with a lot of doctors at our company at Morris Invest who invest through us. And doctors are not very good with their money. They are excellent learners and academics, and they've spent years learning how to save lives, but they haven't had the time. If they had the amount of time to devote to their investing and putting their money to work for them, then they might not be such a great doctor, right? I mean, they've got to spend hours and hours and hours saving lives at a hospital. Do you think that they have time to sit down and read copious amounts of books on investing? No, probably not. And so doctors, they know their return on investment from going to college. Same thing with a lawyer. Like, how many years of working as a lawyer will I need to pay back the $300,000 in law school debt? The same thing with becoming an artist. You love art. Great. Does it really make sense for you to become $70,000, $80,000 in debt going to college to learn how to be an artist? Or are there other ways? Now, the United States is a debt structure, and so we have an awful, awful, awful student loan crisis in the United States. And I would argue that we should absolutely eliminate student loan debt, and we should actually make it for all of our Americans to be able to go to college for free, like they do in other parts of the world. Why are universities in all throughout Europe better than the United States, and they're free? And, when the kids get out, they can become a lawyer, they can become a doctor, they can do anything they want. They can become an architect for free. Virtually. I mean, in the UK, it ends up being a few thousand euros, but most of Europe, like the Netherlands and Portugal and other places, virtually nothing, virtually no cost at all. Now compare that to the $70,000 in student loan debt that, ends up haunting Americans for years up into their 50s, and some way more than that. So how do you ever get ahead by going to college? Again, unless you know the return on that investment, you can track it, and you know that as an architect, it's going to take me 5 years of college. It'll take me this many clients over this many years in order to pay this back. I got news for you. A lot of businesses, Google and others, are saying, screw you to the college, university degree. Like, we don't even care if you go to university. We want to know that you're a good job candidate, and we'll hire you. Don't waste 4 years and go that enormously into debt. Just really, really think about the college thing. Number 6 on my list, don't ever touch your 401k. That's a myth. Don't ever touch your 401k. Truth is, if you've been led to believe that the 401k is the perfect retirement plan, you've been lied to. As I mentioned earlier, I think the 401k is pretty awful. I think it, as the founder of the 401k explained, the creator of the 401k, it was never meant to stand on its own as a retirement vehicle. It was always meant to work in tandem with pension plans that have disappeared. So unless your company has a matching plan, in my opinion, I would avoid it at all costs. I'm not going to go through everything on the 401k. I've done other videos on retirement planning here, so you can check those out. But I will say, though, if you think that a 401k is the only way to build wealth and you can't touch it, hands off. We've been told just don't touch it, right? That's a lie. Some of the first ways I ever bought investment rental properties that I bought and did rehabs with, I borrowed from my 401k. So you can borrow from your 401k. I'm not saying withdraw from it, borrow from it. And if you so I had Fidelity at the time. I would just go to, I think it was my401k.com was their website. Log in, and I would see right there, borrow. And you could pick the amount. So I borrowed the maximum amount that I could, and I put that right towards purchasing a rental property. Now I owned now that money that was just sitting there is being used to create, to buy me a performing asset. Game changer. You can absolutely tap into your 401k. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. And as Frederick points out, there are lots of hidden fees in a 401k. Exactly. That's the thing, people. If you go to the website feex.com, I believe it is, or feex.org, there's all sorts of hidden fees in your 401k that you don't even know about. If you go to this website, and maybe Kelly, you can throw it up here in the chat. I don't know the exact website, but I know we mentioned it a bunch of times. Natalie loves it, my wife. You can see all the hidden fees that are inside your 401k that you're paying that you don't even realize. All right, myth number 7, that debt is bad. I got news for you. Not all debt is bad. Yes, some debt is bad. Credit card debt is bad if you use it incorrectly, okay? And I would even argue that even credit card debt is not necessarily bad if you use it strategically. Mostly, though, people buy crap with their credit cards, and it ends up coming back to haunt them. They buy shirts and shoes and CDs like I did in college. And I ended up paying for years on this crap. But if you use a credit card debt to, say, use it as a down payment on a property, and you have an exit strategy in which to pay it back, not a bad use of it. Robert Kiyosaki, he bought his first property in Hawaii. The author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he bought it with a credit card in Hawaii. He writes about it in the book. So it's not all bad if you do it correctly and strategically. But look, there's a difference between a 22% APR credit card debt when you've gone to the mall and you've bought shoes, okay, than a loan that's tied to a performing asset that's cash flowing. Utilizing debt wisely. This is the difference between me and David Ramsey. David Ramsey's all debt is bad. All debt is bad. No debt. Have a milk jar that you get your money out of. No. We are a debt society in the United States. The only way most millionaires have been built and made is using other people's money, therefore banks' money, other people's money. Even banks right now are using the Federal Reserve's money at 0% interest to build wealth. So why shouldn't you use a bank's wealth to build your wealth? Have you noticed the interest rates? We write this in our newsletter every morning, but in our newsletter, I looked at the mortgage rates this morning. I think it was 2.67. I think it was 2.67% for a 30-year fixed. 2.67%. It's like free money. When you think of it as against inflation, you're borrowing money at that level to buy a performing asset that you, not the bank, gets the tax benefits of. You get the write-off. The bank doesn't. The bank doesn't get any write-offs of you buying a property with their money. You do. Okay? Then you get the cash flow on top of that. It's a game changer. So not all debt is bad. That is a huge myth that debt is bad. Certain types are. You just got to be strategic about how you do it. So those are my 7 myths about money that are keeping you broke. Let's recap. Utilizing a bank account to save all of your money. That is a myth. You do not need to use a bank, which pays you 0.01% interest. Number 2, automating your savings to build a nest egg. Like that's how you're going to retire on a nest egg of US dollar fiat currency. That is a lie, okay? That is an absolute lie propagated by your government and Wall Street, selling you this idea of this middle-class American dream. It's garbage. Number 3, that the stock market will make you rich. That is another myth. It will not. Wall Street gets rich, okay? Number 4, high taxes are inevitable. That is another myth. If you're strategic and you understand how the tax code works, you can virtually pay nothing in taxes. Number 5, going to college is the only way to build wealth and get a job. That's a huge myth, as I've shot that down multiple times. Unless you know the return on that investment, don't waste your time, energy, or money going $80,000 in student loan debt to become a dancer. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. Okay, there are probably cheaper ways to do that. Maybe you could move to Europe and do it for free at college if you absolutely need to go to a university to become a dancer or something. Unless you know the ROI, don't do it. Number 6, never touch your 401k as a myth. Borrow from your 401k. I did multiple times. That's how I was able to acquire my first rental properties. Don't listen to the hands-off, don't touch of your 401k. It's your money. Use it. It's just sitting there doing nothing. And number 7, all debt is bad. That's myth number 7. There are some bad debts, sure, but debt is the backbone of our entire economy. It's how the United States operates. Once we went off the gold standard 50 years ago, actually went off the gold standard August 15th, 1971. 50 years ago this week when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. And everything changed. We are now a debt-based economy. Utilize it. Wall Street is. That's how you build wealth, my friends. So there you go. 7 myths that are keeping you broke. I hope you found this helpful. And drop me a comment below if any of these things really rang true to you. Any questions there? Let's see here. Let's see. So Kathy Gressett says, morning, Iron Man. Thank you. Am I an Iron Man? I had to close my 401k when I got sick. Wish I would have kept some at this point, but the fees killed me. Did you move it over to a self-directed IRA? What did you do with it? Is it just sitting there? Because Kathy, our team can help with that. So if anyone's interested in becoming a real estate investor, you want a full service rental real estate team. That's what our company does at Morris Invest. That's what we do. So come over to morrisinvest.com, book a call with our team, jump on the phone with us for 30 minutes. We'll help you through that process. Our minimum down payment for one of our rental properties is going to be around that $40,000 range. But then we have financing built in, and these are fully done, brand new construction rental properties, cash flowing with a tenant already in place in the best school districts in the country. So that's what we do. If you'd like to become one of our clients, go ahead and book a call with us. We'll have a link below. You can book a call with us. Let's see. Frederick says, shout out to one of your team members, Johnny, who explained to me and my wife about tax advantages of owning real estate to offset earned income taxes yesterday. That's awesome, Frederick. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. And once they become a real estate investor, I mean, it's a game changer. And you understand how to do that. You know, it's interesting because we'll work with doctors sometimes that have like a stay-at-home spouse. And we find out that that's, you know, they don't understand that that spouse who stay at home could actually qualify as a real estate professional given certain guidelines and therefore completely alter that doctor's taxable income by investing in real estate. So we can walk you through that process on the phone. So you can book a free call with us if you go to morrisinvest.com. Hey, Janet, good to see you. That's right, Frederick. So Frederick says diversification is the key to financial success, right? Assets that keep ahead of inflation. Of course. There's a couple of things that go into financial success, of course, not just that it's a hedge against inflation, but when you look at real estate investing, it's not just a hedge against inflation, but it is a tax haven for investors. And that is also creating monthly cash flow. So there are things that can keep ahead of inflation, but where else can you have a steady stream of cash flow that provides for your way of living? And also, Frederick, I'd say, what does financial success mean to you? You know, when I was starting out, I would say, well, I want to become a millionaire. But that was just like such an arbitrary number. I don't know what that means. What does it mean to be a millionaire? That was garbage. It wasn't until I understood the power of the financial freedom number and we created our financial freedom number cheat sheet that we give away. If you go to our website at morrisinvest.com/freedom, I wanted to figure out what is the number of rental properties and monthly cash flow that would provide for my family every month that would cover all of my expenses, my mortgage, my rent, whatever it was, my groceries, my Netflix bill, my gas, my kids, karate lessons, anything, right? Add all of that up. What are my monthly expenses? And then financial success to me now, the way I see it, is that I never have to worry about money again. I now know that money coming in from my investments will always be able to be there to cover all of those expenses. That's financial success, to me. And then that's going to continue in perpetuity. It's not just some random number, some random $1 million number. Because, as Susie Orman points out, if you think that $1 million is going to sustain you for the rest of your life, it's not. Sorry about that, guys. I had to re. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you guys can hear me now. See me. Having some internet issues here, so I'm going to have to cut this short here. But Janet, I was answering your question about $12,000. I would put that, I mean, personally, if this were me, where I have my money, like small amounts like that, I keep in, I use, if you go to morrisinvest.com/outlet, it's a savings account alternative backed by crypto. So that's what I use. I use that. You could use something else like BlockFi and stake your dollars in like GUSD, where you'll get like a really good return on that amount. So that's what I would do, because then it takes it away, takes it out of the U.S. currency, where you get, or a bank, you're getting crappy returns at a savings account. Even at these credit bureaus or whatever. I mean, they're credit unions. Like they give you a little bit more, but nothing like you're going to get in a DeFi account. Yeah, so go to morrisinvest.com/outlet and check that out. So I apologize for bouncing around here. Can't believe, I mean, how many of you guys have kids back at school already? Can't believe, I guess, like, is it Florida's already back in school? Like some areas are already back in school. Please, I can't wait for it to come soon enough. Oh, next week. In Pennsylvania next week? Really? Why is that? Nightmare, I'll let you, if you want to borrow 3 of mine for a while. So I apologize, guys. But anyway, I'm going to cancel it, cut it short here because we keep having these issues. So much love to all of you guys. Thanks. We'll see you next Tuesday at noon Eastern time for another live stream. You can always watch the replay later. Trim it up to send them over. Yeah. Peace out, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, if you are interested in working with a full-service rental real estate team, we'd be happy to help you. So book a call with us. And kind of get started in that process, getting to know you. Our goal when you book a call with us at Morris Invest is to learn about you and your financial goals, see what you have available that you can work with. Maybe it's a 401k. We can help you with an IRA, self-directed IRA, everything. That's what we do. We can help you find sort of those untapped areas that you might not have even thought about, so you can start to build wealth. We can kind of walk you through that whole process. So just come on over to morrisinvest.com and book a call with our team, and we would be happy to help you. Thanks, everyone. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, rest of your summer. We'll see you back here next week, everyone.